Hello Trainer Sans. I don't think I have a Maru run on my channel, so here you go. Happy New Year, by the way. Yeah, so this Maru run was meant to be a potential pick for one of my Champions Meeting Umas for this medium CM. Overall, I'm not super satisfied with my CM team, so I was still doing CM runs even after the first round had already started. So yeah, I completed this run literally yesterday, but ended up turning out pretty good, as you can see. So showing off my build, these are the parents I used, this is the support deck I used, and yeah, Maruzensky. For the first few months, I only had 3 3-stars on my account, Teo, Oguricap, and Maruzensky, on global at least. So Maruzensky, I appreciate her a lot, being one of the few Umas that I could run and be satisfied with. Because for the longest time, I didn't even have the 2 stars or the 1 stars leveled up to 3 stars. Even parent runs wouldn't be too great with them since you can't pass down parent uniques until they get 3-star. Whatever the case, here we go, Maruzensky. And off the bat, we get a 7% failed training on a triple bond at the very start of the run. And you know, when you get a disaster training turn early, in my opinion, it's worth taking the gamble to go with the bottom option, because in a way it's kind of a way to salvage the bad luck. We did not hit the practice perfect, so we got a practice poor and the mood down, which really sucks. But luckily, we do get this really early charming, which is one of the things that saved the run. Pre-make debut charming is really strong, as you probably know. And immediately after, we fail a second training. At this point, definitely should take the practice perfect gamble, especially to get rid of a practice poor that you already have. And of course we fail it again. Poor Maruzensky. But yeah, we take the bottom option and our Maru is now overweight as well. Ugh, we broke her leg twice and gave her an eating disorder all within the first year. So at this point, I think a lot of people would end the run, since the mental damage you take from failing 2 sub 10% trainings plus a slow metabolism is pretty hard to overcome. But this is also a reason why you never give up, because this Maru ended up being pretty competitive towards the end. That's why you should never give up on your Umas. To this day, I have not retired a single run early on global, and I plan to keep it that way. Yeah, you could say it wastes time trying to complete a run that gets pretty doomed from the start, but you gotta believe in your Umas. That's my personal philosophy. So for extra training, I take the top option here because I do want to try to get lucky to get rid of the practice poor, and we don't hit it. But yeah, so to talk about practice poor real quick, in my opinion, it's not worth a turn going to the infirmary to get rid of practice poor, because it is not that devastating. Yes, it can cause a 2% fail chance, but if you don't get extremely unlucky, then you can pretend that it doesn't exist, especially now that you can cure it with a summer rest. So worst case scenario, you only have to rock with it for a couple of months until summer, where you can cure it off. And since a lot of the time you rest during summer anyways, just due to how energy works, it's a big waste trying to clear practice poor early, especially because it can do nothing. And yeah, it does suck when you get really unlucky and you hit that 2% fail, but at that point the run wasn't destined for greatness anyways. So for the first Unity Cup showdown, I go with the top option because it's hard to explain exactly why and when to choose the first or the second option. But if I get a really bad start, in my opinion, you have to kind of take some risks to turn the run potentially good. If you have a bad start and you play really safe, you're just going to end up with an okay Uma. And in a game like Umusume, where only the best Uma you make matters, it doesn't matter if you make 100 okay Umas, you'd rather go for the 1 in 100 amazing Uma, even if it means 99 Umas don't get lucky and end up being pretty bad. If that makes sense. Which I'm sure it does. Y'all are all pretty good at the game now. One of the reasons why I haven't been uploading as much lately is because originally I just wanted to have some informational content to help people out that were completely lost. But at this point, y'all are all pretty good at the game. I don't really have that much to teach you guys, and I'm mostly just here for the ride as well. Right here, we do get a rather early fast learner. So we got an early charming and an early fast learner, which is why this run became what it is, even with the extremely unfortunate start of this run. Yeah, as I was saying, you guys are all good at the game now, especially since the average champion meet Uma that I see is pretty good. Everyone's got a pretty decent support deck as well. Everyone's been saving for Kita-san Black, or at least a lot of people have, and the number of people using my Kita-san Black has also drastically gone down. So congrats to everyone that now has their own Kita-san Black, especially if they are free to play like I am. And our first inspiration event is pretty much as good as you can hope for. We get a medium S, as well as Playtime's Over and Tokyo Racecourse Spark, which is all pretty useful for this current Champions meeting. And we also get Shadow Break, which is Narita Bryan's unique, which is a rather good unique. Maybe not as important for frontrunners, but we will see on that actually. But to go over my mindset at this point, I know our run had that pretty disastrous year 1 with the 2 failed trainings plus the slow metabolism, but we did get the charming and fast learner, so I'm not giving up on this run yet. And if I do have to take some risks, then it's worth it, even if it doesn't pan out. On the flip side, if you're on a really good early start, then maybe you should play a little bit safe towards the end so you don't throw a good start. It's all a judgment call. This entire game is risk versus reward tolerance, and a lot of it comes down to experience. Doing a lot of runs, taking a lot of chances, and then seeing the outcomes. For our second showdown, go for the top option again. Sometimes it's scary hitting the top option, especially when Tazna doesn't believe in you, but especially in a run like this, you can't afford to play safe, basically. And yeah, summer training. Finally, we can get rid of the practice pour for free. Super appreciative of that change. And we get an okay summer. Yeah, the way that this particular build is, with 3 speed, 1 stamina, 1 wit, and then Rico, you noticeably don't have any guts or power cards, but my parents do provide a lot of power. The idea is to stack a bunch of speed to get some potentially really powerful turns, and even if we end up overspeeding, it still ends up providing a lot of power naturally, with how much power that speed training in Kita-san in particular gives. I'm still a big believer in stacking 1 or 2 training types to get those potentially really strong turns that really shape a great run. And yeah, 3 speed, 1 wit with a training boost in speed does make it easy to overspeed, but it means that you can't afford to do non-rainbow trainings since you're going to be having strong trainings otherwise. Just my personal preference, especially with my free-to-play deck. But with this particular build, I know that speed isn't going to be a huge issue to cap out on, so I don't feel bad taking some pretty high value power or guts trainings if I see them. And this is with the fact that I know that my speed is probably going to be fine in the end, as long as I don't get really unlucky. In terms of meta builds, this is not a meta Maru. It does not have groundwork. It does not have a Saiyan Sky inheritance parent. But that's all right. I think with Runaway Suzuka in the game now, groundwork and angling became a lot less valuable for normal frontrunners that aren't named Silent Suzuka. And in a way, it makes it kind of more liberating that you can that you're not really locked into the core frontrunner package that was really important for the first 3 or 4 champions meetings. So this is a support deck and parent combo with the most generic options possible. And it turns out alright. One particular thing about this kind of build is that you have to really lower the value of single rainbow speed trainings. With 3 speed cards, it becomes low value doing a single rainbow speed training when you could be using energy on double or triple rainbow speed trainings. So you gotta just make sure you don't instantly click rainbows when you see them, which is a bad habit of mine at times. You should always look through all the training options, even the ones with non-rainbows, but I will admit that sometimes I'm lazy and I don't properly think about it, even though it many times is the correct choice doing a training with non-rainbows versus the one with rainbows. So year 3, I'm currently pretty happy with my stamina, and now my main priority is just making sure I do hit the speed cap, and also some wit training would be nice as well. And yeah, for the slow metabolism event, I always go the bottom option as long as my energy isn't capped. You gotta take risks, especially when the rewards are so great. 30 energy for free? Now that's crazy. Yeah, Maru CM, she is pretty fun to run, and it helps that she is one of the best uniques to pass down as a parent as well. So even if your runs don't end up good, they can still end up being a really great parent, since Redshift is super desirable. I've had a Maru as my profile borrow parent for a couple of months now, and she gets a lot of use, being a 7-star medium Maru CM, with a lot of white sparks as well. So final Unity Cup showdown, we do take the middle option because it gives us a final rank of 4. I didn't explain it very well in my Unity Cup guide, but the main point of team rank is that it gives your team stat bonuses for the final Unity Cup battle against Zenith. And your stat bonuses max out at team rank 5. So anything above 5 is not really important in terms of those stat bonuses that you get, which is why you go 1-1-1-2 and not 1-1-1-1. Yeah, going 1-1-1-1 gives you a team rank of 2, but that gives you the same stat bonuses as going 1-1-1-2. Now there are minor benefits for going all 1s, but in my opinion, it's not worth the risk, especially when you have a pretty much guaranteed rank 4 if you just play conservatively. But if you know you're on like an extremely strong team run and your team is juiced out, then yeah, go ahead and do 1-1-1-1. I've done it a couple of times with success, and I still don't really feel confident about doing it, especially because it's a really great risk for a very little reward. So we're rounding out the end of our run now, another mood down, and priority number 1 is just making sure our speed gets to where we want it to be. Since at this point I'm thinking that this is potentially a really good run. We've gotten a lot of good skill hints that we're going to pick up at the end, and we got a medium S. So now the only thing that I really need at this point is just hitting those stat goals. So just praying for good luck now. And here, there is a really good speed training with a 33% fail chance, but at this point, I don't think it's worth it. There is taking risks, but then there's also being reckless. And we get rewarded for it, because we get another double speed training right afterwards, with a 0% fail chance. And even with our team being not the strongest, we do end up clutching out the final victory, and we finish up our run with some solid trainings. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the people that watch my videos, even if it's just me talking about whatever's on my mind. And if you just watch these random runs that I like to upload every now and then, I appreciate you a lot. For real, Also, join my Discord. I enjoy chatting with people there, and it's a very chill environment for people to either ask questions or just show off their Umas. I do have a couple of more videos that I want to make about Uma Musume, but they're kind of bigger projects that require a lot of more editing time, but I hope you guys will look forward to it. In the meantime, I hope you guys don't mind these more chill uploads where you can throw on and listen in the background if you're bored or something. And yeah, kind of a interesting set of skill selections for this Maru. Since we don't have angling, this is, in a way, this is sort of a front-runner overtaker build. You might think it's kind of crazy taking overtake skills on a front-runner, but this is a front-runner CM. There are a lot of Suzukas, there's a lot of front-runners, and it is extremely interesting. It's kind of amusing how many times this Maru ends up proccing those overtake skills. Yeah, quick test drive of her in the first 2 rounds of Champions Meeting shows that this is a very competitive Maru. It's not extremely strong, it's not guaranteed to win the finals by any means, but I'm pretty happy with it, especially we did get that S rank. We've got a bunch of pretty good skills that I'm happy with. And she is surprisingly really good at running down Suzukas, which always makes me a little happy. Bringing those Suzukas back down to earth. Anyways, here's a couple of my Marus running people down. And yeah, let me know how you guys are doing. Either in the comments or in my Discord. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, appreciate all of you immensely, the ones that stick around still, even if I'm not sharing crazy new tech and information. Even if I'm not making guides, you're just here for me, I guess. It means a lot to me, for real. Yeah, I will hopefully see you around soon, and I'm hoping you guys have a really good new year. Make sure to take care of yourselves and to also give your Umas lots of head pats.